mère chérie, à toi nos cœurs, à toi nos bras. Welcome back to Gears and Glory. That is the Belgian national anthem. I feel as if I am in Belgium in a fairy tale, as perhaps this weekend might have felt like a delirious trip, perhaps, with all of the content that we have.
Yeah.
And the severe weather, perhaps.
The weather, always a shit show in Belgium.
Yep. Yeah. So we are going to do our best to keep this short for you all. But there was a lot that went on this weekend. So we're just gonna kinda send it, rifle through all of the items that we want to hit, and it will probably feel like how this weekend felt, which was like there's way too much going on for the number of days in which it happened. So I did take a couple of notes about like the weekend in general going in. So obviously Christian Horner is no longer. We had a whole episode about it. Please go listen to it. Britt sings.
Please.
It's great. Musical episode. So we have that. So it's a first weekend. Laurent Mekies is team principal CEO at Red Bull now. Yuki was saying something about like, oh, he smiled at me from the pit wall. And I was like, this poor young man is not even getting smiled at? Come on. So that's big news. Obviously, this is like a big race for Pierre and Charles and everyone who is friends with Antoine Hubert, who lost his life at this track. So it was nice to see that Antoine's mother was there with Pierre's family, and like she didn't lose her connection to this world, although it must be really tough to like see her son's kids living out the life that her son would have had. I cannot imagine how difficult that is. So my heart goes out to her. I think she's extremely strong for like engaging with this still, but it was nice to see that she was supported by people who know her and have known her and knew her son and still hold him close to their hearts. So I just thought that was nice. In a sharp left turn, it's Fernando's birthday coming up on Tuesday, I believe. And also he's a mustache, and I don't hate it. I actually really like it.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Actually, it suits him. I'm not even gonna lie.
We need to ask Liv, who, shout out Liv, not feeling well, but also Liv's mom. I need to know how they feel about the mustache. So we'll be following
Liv,
up.
we're gonna need follow up point. Liv, please.
We'll circle back. We'll circle back to that item later. Oh my god!
It's also my birthday on Wednesday, so yeah, I'm a day after Fernando.
Oh my god, twins!
Leo twins. You're
basically Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, I am in fact the youngest rookie. And what's his nickname? Why has it just blanked me? I mean, I am learning Spanish.
Mando? Well, and I see you have a note here about Yuki's other mother finally meeting.
Yeah. So Nicole Piastri finally met Yuki, and I think it's the cutest thing ever because she was so happy. You could see it on her face, she was so happy. And I think Red Bull posted it on their Instagram or like on their socials. I think that they posted it. And it was so cute. And all of the comments were like, Oscar has to sit at the kiddie table now. Like he's lost his seat at Christmas dinner. And
I know. No, it's so funny. No, and I love Nicole Piastri for that because literally her son is in the sport and she's like, oh, but I'm also like such a huge fan of this other guy. Yeah. Of, like literally one of your competitors. Love him. Love you too, honey, but like Yuki's here, but, so.
Yeah. So I'm going to go and spend the day with him in the Red Bull garage and then I'll come back and chill with you at nighttime, okay?
Yeah. Hilarious. Love it. I love that they don't take it seriously like the Piastri. Hattie, the Piastris don't take it seriously at all. I think it's a hoot. I absolutely love it. I think we should see more of it. It's fun to like get the families involved, in my opinion, a little bit of like, I think we're seeing a little bit of it now, but like, I think it's just like a fun touch, but that's kind of things outside of the actual racecraft that we saw this weekend. But let's get into the first part of like the real racing stuff. We're gonna skip FP1 because basically what doesn't even matter anymore because so much other stuff happened. So we'll kick off with sprint quali. There were like 3 different types of setups going in. because it was allegedly wet. It wasn't going to be wet. The sprint was dry. The feature race was wet. Like, you kind of didn't really know what was going to happen at any given moment. So your setup was going to vary anyways, and you were either going to shoot yourself in the foot on a gamble one way or another. So the F1 TV commentators were discussing the setup. So there was a high downforce setup for Oscar and McLaren, including Lando, I believe, as well, which was going to be better in the corners. But we saw that fight a ton with the way that Max's Red Bull, and I'm sure Yuki's Red Bull, was also similarly set up to be faster in the straights with less downforce. So it was really interesting to see where people were putting like their money with where their mouth was in different like places with that. And then trying to split the difference, which I think hurt them more than helped them, was Mercedes. Somewhere in the middle between low and high downforce, just kind of like trying to find a Goldilocks zone. But I think then they weren't competitive in either place.
Yeah, it was just not their weekend, I don't think. I don't think they nailed this up for any session, unfortunately.
No, it was tough. And like Kimi, who had been performing so well within a couple of unfortunate DNFs so far this season, but like has been doing a great job, was unfortunately kind of nowhere, which is not necessarily what I've come to expect from him. So I think it's like the car thing. Oh, don't even get me started.
Crying.
That's a child. You guys are making a child cry on international television. Are you kidding?
My heart, when I saw him like wipe his eyes, I was like, oh, no.
He had a little, he was so polite about it too. He had a little tissue. Oh, goodbye. Which means he had prepared for it. No, goodbye. Goodbye.
No. Little baby. Oh, he's so small.
Yeah. Yeah, quite literally putting him in my pocket, in which I'm pretty sure he like literally fits.
He would, he would.
Yeah, he would fit in a pocket. You could put him in one of the little baby Bjorns. Well, I got Kimi on one side, Yuki on the other. Good God.
Isaac in the little carrier
in the back. Wait,
Gabby in the pram.
I saw a picture of Isaac Hadjar without his shirt on. Homie's ripped.
Yeah.
He's ripped.
Everyone seems to be surprised, but he's been flexing his muscles in all of, in so many media videos for so long.
Yeah, but like, just because you have beautiful meaty biceps doesn't necessarily mean you also have like a shredded six-pack.
He has like a thick bod.
He's built.
That's well muscled. That's well muscled.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm used to like the body type of like Ollie and Charles and like Esteban, where they're like taller and lankier. Oh, listen. Yeah. The reel I posted of him absolutely sends me every single time of him just going, he's such a meme. And I'm like really sad we're only finding out about it now, because I'm sure he's been this funny. He's just like finally having his redemption arc, post-villain arc at Alpine.
There was actually this like little clip that I got of him during the red flag, and it was panning on Ollie, and then it panned to Esteban, and he went to walk, like to go talk to the engineers, but instead of getting up and moving his chair, he just like scooted like with his chair.
No, that's so relatable. That's so relatable. But yeah, actually, speaking of the Haas garage, during the sprint quali, Amelia de Moldenberg from Chicken Shop Date was there. I loved it. I know she's interviewed Lando, but I know she interviewed Damson Idris, who played Joshua Pierce in the F1 movie, which, first of all, their interview, chemistry, sparks were flying.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream role? Your boyfriend. Are you kidding me? Come on.
He matched energy so well.
Yeah, actually, we do have to end the show now. I can't date anyone because me and Damson Idris are dating now. Like, that would be me. Fully. There'd be no recovery.
Sorry. I don't need any more dates. But Amelia was then also in the Williams garage, because Williams posted her in the car.
Yes, which love. Honestly, they kind of won that. Between like the Haas and the Williams, like she got in the car. So like that one wins. So cool. So cool. She's living the dream, honestly. Very happy to see her, because it feels like she's like one of the girls, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
so
I
to see her get there.
I wish her nothing but the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And she like released a clothing line, and there's a shirt that just says flirt on it. God, I love it. But it's like $1 million. It's like really expensive.
Oh yeah, of course.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But that aside, the rest of the actual sprint quali. Let's see. Lewis did not have good qualifying this weekend. He was out
No.
in SQ1, just suffering, and then they just interview these people immediately, which just is tough, man. Like you have a bad performance, and then they're like, why do you suck? And then they give you the microphone,
Yeah.
and he has a Kimi Räikkönen moment. I don't know if you've seen this clip where they're like, what happened? And Kimi Räikkönen goes, I spun. And like literally they ask Lewis what happened. He goes, I spun. They go, what? He goes, I spun. Just like a little louder. But he was mad. He was big mad.
Yeah.
You could tell.
I can't imagine he would be like happy to talk to the media pen after that. That would be
No, it was tough to see. There were a couple of like Q1 exits where they were like, and then we're interviewing the person with the worst performance so far this weekend or something.
Yeah.
Like obviously they didn't say it like that, but it was like, I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm a
Yeah.
liability to my team at that point. I'm not
Yeah.
talking to
It's
anyone.
like
So
I'm gonna
honestly,
get
hats
fined.
off to everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
fully. You, me, and Kimi Antonelli crying. But yeah, actually, speaking of, Kimi was on the radio to Bono about like he like lost it into the gravel, and they were like, we have to check the floor, and he's like, I'm so sorry. He apologized like 6 or 7 times, and Bono was like, we'll figure it out. Like, don't sweat it. And it was just like, I love how nurturing it felt,
Yeah.
which I love out of Mercedes, which is kind of not what I expected from them. But after investing so much in him.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of did expect that from Mercedes. I wouldn't that sort of I feel like Mercedes and McLaren are very nurturing.
Well, but
Like in
here's
a
my
firm
thing.
way.
But why did George never get that? George has always been like the forgotten middle child. Because like Lewis got all of the attention, and now
Yeah.
Kimi gets all of the attention. But like, yeah, they gave George the opportunity, and yeah, they let him develop himself at Williams. But like, I never have felt like that about the way they treat George. And I think George is performing way too well. I feel like he like deserves better. But also
I
like
feel
it's not bad either.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think George does deserve better, but to your point of it's different between George and Kimi and Lewis, I think that comes down to Bono. Like Bono is the common denominator
That's
between
really
both of
fair. That's really fair.
I think that it comes down to him.
Yeah, shout out Bono. Also, Bono's also like thick.
Yeah.
He's got
He's a
hella
cutie.
abs. He does. This one's for you, Bono.
Nothing but
I have
love
to.
from
Anyways,
Glory Girls.
yeah.
Aw.
Let's talk about SQ2 before I say anything else incriminating.
Yeah, please.
um.
Please.
Okay, so it was. Oh yeah, the beginning of SQ2 was crazy. Oscar sent it on a lap, and he was half a second faster than Lando just on the first lap, which was
Yeah.
crazy. They were the first to go out, and then Oscar got his time deleted, which was because coming up on Eau Rouge, the like iconic for those of us that learned the corners this weekend, the iconic like upward slope, like soft curves. He just like obviously you want to take the lines as straight as you can to go as fast as possible. But that meant that he just at one point kicked all 4 wheels over the white line.
Yeah.
Even though he was still on like the curb. So yeah. And then it was crazy. People kept jumping up to the top. So Charles jumped up to P2, and then Sainz was up in 3rd. Albon got kicked out in SQ2. So Sainz went through, but Albon was out. And then like Ollie was jumping up and Liam was jumping up, and at the end when everyone is running their final laps and like everybody's running at the same time, all of these lap times start coming in, which is obviously the most stressful part of any qualifying session. But SQ2 finished with like a ton of teams that like I wouldn't have necessarily expected to make it into the top 10 shootout to like finalize the positions of like no offense to any of these people, but they're not teams that we would typically expect. Of like Gabby was up there, Haas. I think both Haas's were in there. Yeah, we had V-Carb, crazy. So, and then in SQ3, all these crazy folks, yeah, they take 1 lap basically. And then again, Oscar is almost half a second faster. at one point than whoever's in P2, which at that point was Max. Charles put it into P4, which was great, but then someone said something on the broadcast about how P4 is kind of unlucky to start. So I don't really know about that. It seemed like it worked out fine, in my opinion. So
unlucky. I mean, he did an overtake in like the first like couple corners of the sprint.
Yeah. So I feel like after reversing the
like little
Monaco
double
first,
overtake.
yeah, it's almost like his luck has changed. I don't know. This weekend was like good. I'm gonna say that with my chest. But yeah, and then this quali session, sprint quali, was the one where Oscar broke the lap record for this track.
Yeah.
Took it from Lewis.
Huge slay.
Which is a huge accolade.
Huge slay.
Huge. All right, moving along so that we're not sitting here for a million years, because I could sit here for a million years and talk about this weekend. I could, and I'm trying really hard.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Incredible weekend. Not so much an incredible race.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
For now, the sprint. Liv was very sad to learn that Pierre was not going to be starting the sprint. They had said that he would not be starting. And then after I think everyone did the formation lap, they said that he would be starting from the pit lane and that they sorted it out. And I think he started 2 laps down. So they used it as like a kind of like an FP rather than as something to get points.
Yes, but absolutely. Which I'm glad they did, because it would have they would have been really on the back foot with Pierre if he hadn't been able to gather the data and be on like the same playing field as everybody else. It was fair. It was the fair thing to do, to let him run.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that was a great decision to make. Everyone went out on the mediums, which I thought was interesting because it's not like, I feel like between the sprint laps we always have like 1 or 2 on a different tire. So I think it was interesting.
Someone who's just like committed to Yeah.
But yeah, so we had some first lap overtakes. We had a double overtake on the McLarens between Max and Charles.
Loved this.
Was so
it was
cool.
So sexy. It was so good. Both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Loved it. But so Max overtook Oscar at the start in lap 1. And at that same time, I think because probably Lando was like, there's so much going on up ahead, Charles was able to kind of get a leg up on him and pass him, but it didn't quite stick because of the downforce configurations. So because the McLaren had a little bit more straight line speed with the configuration that it had, Lando was able to get the place back. So didn't quite make it stick. It was beautiful while it lasted. I was living large. But yeah, I think that kind of takes the first part of the sprint. On the radio, again, GP was not with Max, which was surprising. I do want to say I hope everything is okay, because he's missed a couple races, and I just hope nothing's wrong with him or with anyone in his family. So just like sending good energy his way. But it's interesting. It's so funny to be so deep into the sport that Max says something and someone on the radio responds, understood, and I can immediately say, oh, that's not GP. That's someone else.
Literally.
And then Alex Jakes and Julian Palmer are like,
who is that?
Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, Simon Rennie's filling in again, blah, 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 which like, he's not new to it. He was Mark Webber and Daniel Ricciardo's, we've talked about this, engineer. So like, he's not new, but Max and GP have had such a long relationship. So, and it's not like they're new to each other either, even just outside of the past time that Simon was in for GP this season, but like with the sim work that they do. But anyway, crazy sprint. We had some crazy finishing positions. I'm all about it this season, about how close the pack is.
Yeah, it's really entertaining to watch, and I think knowing, like, it makes you want to watch each session.
Yes.
Whereas before, if you missed a session, you were like, it was probably Max anyway, and then you'd look at it and you'd be like, see, knew it, whatever. But not this year. This year it was really, it's been really engaging.
Yeah.
But the top 10 for the sprint was Max, Oscar, Lando on the podium, the sprint podium, Charles,
Mm.
Esteban, Sainz, Ollie, Isaac, Gabby, and Lawson, which, similar to what you said about the qualifying, like the sprint qualifying
Yeah.
order, so interesting to see the place where people finished in the sprint. Because it's not typically what we would see. Like, there's no Astons up there.
Mm.
Albon isn't in the top 10. There's not even Yuki's in there. Like, it's just
Right,
a
which
weird.
is so crazy. Especially when we talk about like the race, when we look at going from the sprint, which is like as close to our race simulation as we're going to get on a
Mhm.
sprint weekend, to the actual race, like things got really shuffled up,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
like great for viewing.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think that the weather had a lot to do with that, but
Yeah.
that always has a lot to do with everything, every single track. But
Yeah.
um,
And the last
then
thing I'll say about the sprint really quick is just it was really funny when Oscar was doing his post sprint interview. They asked him of like, oh, so like Max got past you. And he goes, yeah, I didn't have enough straight line speed to keep him behind. And then also I didn't have enough straight line speed to get ahead of him for the rest of the race either. But it was so funny because he was like, yeah, I just like didn't have it. And then didn't have it for the rest of it either. Like, I don't know. It just really sent me. It was a very Oscar response of like, yeah,
yeah,
we weren't fast enough. And then we
yeah,
still
just
weren't fast enough.
we just didn't
I don't
have
know.
it.
It was funny to me.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, we just like weren't there. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, and then we get out of park for May. So everybody learns everything from the sprint, obviously. Very
Mm-hmm.
exciting, lots to learn for quali, which is up to this point, everything has been dry. So
Yeah.
when we get to the race, we'll talk about that. But there wasn't anything super, super crazy outside of Q1 when, unfortunately, because the Saubers sucked last season, their garages are at the very end when everybody's trying to leave. So if you're trying to get out, you
Mm-hmm.
either have to be the very, very first person in the pit lane exit line, you know, like the lane,
Yeah.
or you just have to like beg. Like me when I'm merging into like traffic, I'm like in my window, like prayer hands, like, please let me in. I'll give you $1. Let me in, please. Feels like that's what Nico's trying to do. And Lance Stroll was just like, no. And just absolutely crunched over his front wing. Had to get a new front wing immediately before the session really started. Love it.
But it's
Respect.
funny because
On both ends.
they were actually talking about the pit lane at one point. I don't remember if it was quali or if it was. I don't think it was the race. I think it was quali. But someone just like jumped in. Everyone was going through. There were like 4 people in the pit lane, and someone towards the end of the pit lane
Oh,
just was
yeah.
like,
There were so
"Whoop."
many unsafe releases.
Yeah, and Crofty was like, "Oh, unsafe release, like people, why aren't they using their mirrors? Blah blah blah, all of this stuff."
Yeah.
And then Brundle goes, "Well, what do you expect them to do? They're not just gonna sit there and wait for 20 drivers to come past them to then tag along
Yeah.
at the end. Like they can't just abort their lap because there's a bit of traffic. They just have to get their elbows out and push in where they can." And I was like, there's a
Yeah.
very fine, like, it just made me realize that there's a very fine line between an unsafe release and, like, elbows out.
Getting your spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. And part of me wonders, like, it all kind of comes back to the engineers at this point, especially when they're in the pit lane, because the
Yeah.
engineers, like, and the strategists, they decide what the run plan is, as in when to go
Mhm.
out. And it seemed like for quali, everybody decided that, like, with X amount of time to go or X amount of minutes in, it was like, okay, now is the perfect time to go out to execute our run plan the best. But
Yeah.
I feel like they never factor in the fact
Other
that maybe
people?
someone else or all other teams will also be doing that. So it's not like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, if you left 10 seconds earlier, you would have had a free spot on the track. No, you wouldn't have been the last to go and lock in your spot, but you wouldn't be
Yeah.
dealing with dirty air of the whole rest of the grid around you. So it feels like almost
Yeah.
like they don't factor that in. And like the thing is, I'm sure they do. And also, how are you ever supposed to know what someone else is thinking? Because it's not like Haas is going to be telling Williams like, oh, we're going to leave with this at like with this amount of time to go. Can you guys like
Yeah.
rock paper scissors to see who gets the like peak track position or something? Like that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But like it feels like you could almost try to budget that in. but it's also kind of an impossible ask as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tricky. It could never be me. I'm too indecisive. I'd be like, oh, go, wait,
Yeah.
no, go, wait. And if something wasn't perfect, I don't think I would be able to handle it. Be like, this isn't our
Yeah.
plan.
Something would,
Anyway.
yeah, I would have to, as much as I like kind of talk smack about the way that Lando needs so much coaching and like gets so emotional, that would be me. I'd be in the car, I'd go into the gravel, and I'd be like, I should just bring the car back to the pit lane now.
It would be.
Let's just call it.
I would be like going around the track and then call and be like, yeah, so this person is pitted, so we're gonna have to change the plan to like this one. I'm like, I had in my mind that we were doing plan A, so we actually can't do plan C. Sorry.
First of all, let me memorize what plan A, B, and C are every weekend. Oh,
Yeah.
thumbs up.
Nice.
Yeah. Crazy. But anyways,
Yeah.
that's really like the main thing that happened in quali. Lewis was again out in Q1, he was disappointed. Everybody kept saying this is a weekend to forget, and I'm like, okay, you guys said that 5 times already. It's kind of harsh.
Yeah.
Maybe let's just like just let this go. And that one was a little contentious because he was through, and then his lap time got deleted, and Gabby got promoted to Q2.
Yeah,
so
that's
that
right.
one was a little bit tougher to swallow, even because it was like, oh, you're through, except for just kidding, you're not. Sorry.
Jokes. You thought. Yeah, that was rough. But great for Gabby that he made it through. But that did push
They've been having really good form.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Q3, both at all 4 Red Bull cars into Q3, I believe. For the first time ever this season.
That's huge.
Wait, I think it was
Bye,
all 4?
Christian. I'm checking right now.
Maybe at least 3. I can't remember if one of the V carbs got knocked out. Maybe it was SQ that I was thinking all 4.
No. Yeah, they're all 4. Yeah. You're right.
Slay. Yeah, so bye Christian. Welcome to the best performing quali weekend of Red Bull in who knows how long. Yuki's 100th race. Huge
his best starting position. Big weekend for Yuki. He got to meet Nicole Piastri.
Weekend.
Nicole Piastri didn't get to meet Yuki. Yuki got to meet Nicole Piastri, okay?
Oh
my god.
I love him. He's so sweet. But yeah, started P6, which as you said, best starting position.
Have you seen the clip of Ollie doing like media interviews, and it's just like Yuki in the background from here up?
Yes!
He's just like looking up.
when they go from Ollie to Yuki and they're like up here, then Yuki comes in and they're like,
no, it's so funny. It's so whenever I get like government photos taken that are kind of tall, they always take the camera and they're like, oh, hold on. They do the same thing. But yeah, anyways, we can talk about Yuki and Nicole Piastri all day. But
all day.
All right, the race. Let's talk about the race. Let's talk about the race and the reason why I was drinking coffee and you're having an energy drink, huh? Let's talk about that. So
yeah.
We can talk about the fact that they skipped a tire compound. We can talk about the fact that Fernando Alonso, Kimi Antonelli, Lewis Hamilton, and Carlos Sainz all started from the pit lane. But more importantly, we could talk about the fact that it was freaking pouring rain, absolutely coming down, cats and dogs. A hazard. Yep. An absolute hazard.
Yeah. Well, so they red flagged the start. They were on the formation lap behind the safety car. Red flagged the start because all the engineers were asking the drivers about visibility. Lando said that visibility, like he couldn't see much behind the safety car. So he can't imagine what the rest of the grid was like. And then I think they showed Pierre, Ollie's and Oscar's radio, I think. And all of them said that visibility was bad, especially through Eau Rouge and along the back straight. Yeah. Look, I think that this is something that we can talk about a little bit because a lot of and then they showed when they did red flag it, they showed Pierre's on board, and I think as well because of the glare, plus the spray back, that also impacted
Yeah.
visibility because it was really bright at the time. The sort of dark clouds weren't over at that point, so it was very bright and glary, and you really couldn't see much, especially with the elevation changes. So
Oh no.
I think,
Yeah, and you're coming uphill, like
yeah,
you don't. It's a blind hill. Like you can't
yeah, like it's a blind hill in daylight, and so I
in
think
dry
that
conditions.
there's been a lot of not pushback, but a lot of concern, and even Max came on the radio and said, "I think the FIA is too cautious. Like we're only going to clear the track if we're on it. It's just going to get
Mm.
worse." Blah blah blah. And I understand that to an extent. However, we need to look at the history of the track. We've lost 2 drivers here in the last 5 years. That's
Mm-hmm.
an insane stat for this
Yeah.
level of racing with how safe the cars are now.
Of
And I think
sport
they
in general.
are just, yeah. And I think they're just extra cautious in Spa because if it's low visibility and there's a crash at the top of that hill, everyone's gone. No one is avoiding it. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no way to avoid it. So I think they're
Yep.
extra cautious around here because they didn't even red flag Silverstone, and you
That
genuinely
was
couldn't even see the cars on the
bad.
broadcast. Like
Well, yeah, we
that
had
was
that
bad.
massive shunt that Isaac had into the back of
Yep,
Kimi Antonelli that absolutely took him out because what? You
yep,
can't see someone 2 feet in front of your car
yep,
and you can't brake in time. Well, yeah, obviously you're going to crash. So
yep.
I do think, yeah, it's tough because, and I know that this is something that is talked about a lot, but the fact that the marshals and like the FIA and the folks that are like administrating the race are not consistent.
No,
That I think is
well,
really tough.
there's actually a thing about this which I don't know if everyone knows, but so the FIA like director and everything, they all stay the same every single race,
Mm.
but they bring in volunteer stewards and marshals for every single track. So
Mm-hmm.
they brief them at the beginning of the weekend, but they don't have a consistent metric of judgment because everyone understands problems and risks differently. And
Yeah.
so I think that's why we get such a variation in safety, truck limits, penalties. I think that's why we get such discrepancies between each track because there is a lack of consistency with the people that are applying those judgments. And
Yeah.
maybe
One, I don't know
the
if like,
people that do it at Spa are just because they race so much there, and I would imagine these marshals volunteer frequently there because why wouldn't
yeah.
you? So I'm sure they're just extra cautious. They're like, no, we know the track, we know that it's unsafe, we think it should be called. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's why it's
Well, and it was the right call too, because
definitely,
they also see like the weather radar and everything of like more
yeah,
rain coming in, and they were showing it come in.
yeah.
It was not. But I
And they
was
had
gonna say,
people
I don't
on
know if you've
horses
ever
in the
been.
woods,
Yeah. Fully.
like
Yeah.
monitoring the weather.
In, yeah. Crazy. But I don't know if you've ever been like in a jury, like a court jury. But I served in a jury like relatively recently, like maybe a year and a half ago or something. And I feel like there's also like of there being different people involved in making decisions of essentially like a jury of people deciding how to proceed with penalties and red flag conditions and stuff like that of like if there's this degree of like if enough people are in agreement, is it just easier to get in even if you
Yeah,
think something is right or wrong? Like, no, I didn't believe
yeah,
that so and so deserved Oscar deserved a 10-second penalty. It should have been 5. But if everybody's going
hmm
for 10, like,
hmm
how hard are you going to fight for that? Even if it's like
yeah,
the right thing or something. Or like if
yeah.
everyone's insisting, oh no, Silverstone is still fine even though it's raining this hard. Like, how hard are you going to fight if it's just you? I keep thumbsing
Yeah.
up today. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's
Okay.
interesting. I think it's really interesting that
Yeah,
that's
it
not like
was.
a fixed set of people, which maybe it should
I
be,
agree.
or at least I
Yeah,
don't know how it works. I don't know.
I agree. I think just for some consistency, even, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the red flag was pretty much an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So for the for the country of Australia, that was a 12 a.m. race start, or like, no, 12:30 a.m. race start. I think between 12:30. So yeah, it finished at like 2:15, 2:30 for us.
No,
that is what I
absolutely
have
not.
my.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
reason that I was giggling is I don't know if you were tuned in to the start of the red flag when it like was raining, but Crofty and Brundle were talking about the woods, and they were just like trying to make
No,
conversation, and they were like, "Oh, these woods,
listen.
I wouldn't want to be out there in the woods," and just real. I don't even know what they were saying, but
Like,
they were not saying anything relevant.
no, not at all.
Because what
No,
do
the
you
second
say
the
in
red
that
flag
thing?
happens, yeah, the commentators have nothing to talk about. They sent a
No.
guy into the Max grandstand to interview people. And then he's like, oh, yeah, they're doing the Macarena. And then the camera guy turns and a woman's going, and then he's like, I have a hat now. And they ran out of beer. And I'm just like, what am I like, don't know what to do with any. But first of all, the fact that the Max grandstand ran out of beer before the race started.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah,
Wild.
respect.
Um,
Hilarious.
you wouldn't have seen it, but on the Sky Sports broadcast, they had Nico this weekend.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about like memories and, things like this, memories of Spa and whatever.
Oh, I think I know what
And
you're
then,
going to say.
yeah, and then Crofty was like, I heard Nico say, oh, I have a picture of this, like, come back to me. Anyway, it was like 5 minutes later, and Crofty comes back and he was like, oh, we had word of, it was after the Woods conversation. And, Crofty
We
was
were
like,
all delirious during the red flag.
literally, we had word of these two terrors, tearing through the woods, like blah, blah, blah. And here they are. And Nico pops a picture of him and Lewis quadding on the screen when they were 13 years old. And Crofty goes, oh my God, look at how small you guys were. And Nico goes on this big, storytelling of what the context was and everything. But he starts off by saying, well, yeah, we were best friends at the time. We were best friends at the time. We did everything together. This was when we were on vacation with my parents.
I'm sorry. Let me take this knife out of my heart really quick.
Oh,
Ow! You can't say something like, and I know the face he's saying it with. He's just like, oh yeah, haha, like this is the story.
Yeah, I'll send it to you because I took a video of the whole thing, so I'll send it to you. Because I was like, oh,
because the thing that I saw was like he was talking about it. He's like, no, we have a neutral relationship now. That hurts. That hurt me.
Sad. But anyway, so after an hour and a half, the race begins.
An hour and a half later, I was working hard we were both working hard to stay awake because I woke up at 6:55 in the morning thinking, I'll start my Sunday off. Psych.
No, and that is why you have a coffee right now. You need that energy.
At 5 p.m. Oh man.
So yeah, it was a rolling start behind the safety car, which meant that Lando got to set the pace after the safety car came in. They weren't behind the safety car for too long because by that point the rain had stopped, the sun was out, the track was going to dry relatively quickly.
It was actually beautiful to see the sun come out. It was like so exciting. I was like, it's like I'm there. I can feel it on my skin.
yeah, literally. And I had a feeling this would happen because Max did the move on Oscar in the sprint. So when Oscar was starting P2, I was like, I feel like he's just going to do what Max did to him. And
he's learning.
He pretty much did. He is. So Oscar overtook on Eau Rouge, which was very ballsy. Even Lando said that. He was like, he was like, I wouldn't have made that move. Like, he was a bit ballsier than what I was, but like it paid off in the long run. But yeah, he made the move on Eau Rouge, took the lead, and that's where he
ran away. Absolutely ran away with it.
He ran away. Yeah. So it was not long after that. I think it was maybe lap 10-ish that the pit stop started happening.
Yes, which
And
were all kicked
they,
off by Lewis Hamilton, who was putting
yeah,
in work. Because even during the wet, even while he was still on inters, he made up like 3 places in a lap.
yeah. I'm so glad that he got driver of the day because he really deserved it.
He deserved it. Yeah. Who did you vote for driver of the day?
Yeah. I actually didn't vote.
Oh, that makes sense though. It was 2 a.m. Yeah, you know what? I'll let it slide this time. I did
but
immediately when the pop-up
my
came
vote is
up.
Lewis.
Yeah. But like immediately when the pop-up came up, I said, I have to go vote for Lewis. I have to vote for Lewis right now because he deserved it. Whenever someone has a drive like that, they deserve driver of the day. So today is one of those days where like it lined up correctly. Like who we voted for and who deserved it were 1 and 1. Hit the double thumbs up for the reaction on this one. But yeah, so then he was the first one to put the slicks on. And then I started to get nervous because this is always something that happens where are you too early is a huge risk. If there is a sprinkle more of rain, your dead inters are going to be better than a slick.
Yeah, totally.
So I was frightened.
Luckily it did pay off.
It did. It was huge. So a bunch of people followed Lewis into the pits, and then the next lap, they're like, box to Charles. And I get PTSD whenever I see the Ferrari Charles Leclerc radio come up and it says box. I start shaking. I need to like sit down.
Hyperventilating.
But it was fine. It was okay. It was good.
It was fine.
It went okay. But yeah, it was very exciting. Instead of the clown Ferrari pit wall meme going around this weekend, it's the one of all like the like Giga Chad massive jaw meme faces on the pit wall.
They actually did well this weekend. They really did well this weekend. We got Verstappen battles again, which I have missed
almost side by
my
side.
whole heart.
Yeah, it was and I was talking about it while it was happening. I was like, they're so polite about it, and I was asked like,
they always battle respectfully.
Yes, and I think it's because they know what each other are about. Like I think, like Charles understands Max is going to do anything for it, and I think Max understands that Charles is going to drive hard and fair. And I think he like not necessarily doesn't get his elbows out, but keeps them more within regulation when he's with Charles because he knows that Charles will fight fair back. So it's like if we both agree to fight fair to each other, then we can fight fair and continue to fight fair. Whereas with like Lando, I think there's bits and pieces of outside of racing that don't necessarily encourage Max of like stealing Simply Lovely or, you know, moments where it just
sportsmanship. It
gets him differently. I think it just affects Max differently and he drives differently in response to that.
Yeah. I think we can see that with we can start to see that with how he battles Oscar as well, because like the difference between how he battles Charles or Oscar compared to Lando or George, totally different. Totally
and I
different.
think it has to do with that.
See the difference in respect.
Yeah, with the like outside of the race, outside of the cockpit.
Yeah, even Lewis, who doesn't even battle with his elbows out like he does with Lando and George. It's almost like he tries to teach them a lesson. Not anymore, but it's almost like he tries to teach
Let's not forget that Max was insane.
Oh no, I mean now. I don't mean he doesn't battle like that with Lewis before. Because he was a demon. He was a demon, just like little Seb.
Crazies.
Yeah, so strategy was a big thing. Strategy and pit timing was a big thing this race, and I don't think that that's what was expected of the strategists, but I think pretty much everyone pulled it off pretty well. I was getting very worried that they would have to pull Oscar in for another pit stop when he said that he didn't think that the mediums would last. And I was like, great, he's gone. He's not winning. And then it was maybe like 5 laps later.
Yeah, and they were talking about it too, because I remember it was a conversation with Carlos who was saying, like, my tires are, like, done. Like, these are not going to make it to the end. But I think that the Williams configuration was maybe too high downforce or something, because their tire degradation was bad. Like, Alex Albon's tires, like, he was struggling. Yeah. Lewis was all over the back of him, which he was never able to make that pass stick, unfortunately. But, like, They were having some
Yeah.
like more tire problems of like losing the front, losing the rear, than maybe everybody else. So yeah, everybody thought like, oh, the mediums are gonna have to get pitted again. Lando, they're like, could you do the hards? Yup. Like it was like so high stakes, so high like tension moment where they're like, we need an answer now. Answer me.
It really,
And
it
he went
really
for the
was
heart.
quite humorous.
Yeah, the radios were pretty good this weekend, I think.
Yeah.
Some of them were
Yeah.
good. I want to talk about the Charles one later. I think I have it. Yeah, I think I have it toward the end of the race, but yeah, and then like a little while after like Carlos is complaining about his tires, they're like telling Oscar like, no, we're gonna have to make you stick. This is gonna have to happen.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Alex Jakes goes, plot twist, the mediums are gonna have to do it, and they might actually be able to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
And
it
look,
helped that they had a little bit of water to
Yeah.
cool the tire, just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that like Oscar, after they said that they would have to make it work, he adjusted his driving so that it wasn't as hard on the tires.
No, absolutely.
So
but he's still
yeah.
able to, because it was about an 8-second gap. Once he took the lead and ran with it, he got stuck at about 8 seconds of distance. And this is medium versus hard and the inter versus the inter before the pit change. So he was able to like still keep that lead and like match Lando's pace on tires that would have held up better. So I think, yeah, it was a lot of very careful and tactical driving of just like using the information. I've been panicking all day that I'm going to refresh my Instagram and see another disqualification.
I know. Wait, another disqualification?
Well, George's last year.
Oh, right. And then we had, again, for Kimi, bit of a sad weekend, just because I think he's been performing so well earlier in the season. But he was stuck behind Franco for a while, and I don't think that, that was good for his confidence. But, I'm sure he would have learned a lot from it. So it'll pay off in the long run, I'm sure.
Yeah, he did make it. He did finally get past him. It was just tricky. But Lance also passed Franco Colapinto. So I'm just saying, and I'd like to repeat this again, I'm not saying he's the best driver. I'm just not saying he's bad. He's like not a bad driver. That's all I'm saying.
Did you see the picture that I think Aston put on their story? And it was of two girls with a Live Love Lance flag in front of the Aston garage.
Loved it. I think they like did an interview with them and everything. It was so cute. I loved it. No, Live Love Lance is actually hilarious.
Yeah.
So good. But yeah.
These notes that you have about Carlos, I didn't know this.
Yeah. Let me tell you about it. Let me tell you all about it.
Fill me in.
Yeah, so Carlos Sainz was like stuck in P18 the whole race. It was really sad. I was really upset. He got a black and white flag, so he was like trying.
Oh man.
He was pushing the limits. He got a black and white flag, and then he just was stuck down there. And it's tough to see like Alex Albon get in the top 10, get ahead of a Ferrari, and Carlos for some reason stuck at the back.
Yeah, it just wasn't definitely not his race.
Sure wasn't. Yeah, tough one.
Yeah.
For Carlos.
But end of the race.
Oh yeah, we talked about this a little bit. Of Oscar sending it on the mediums and committing to like making it work and keeping at about 8 seconds. But then once like Lando really got moving, he started to bite into that time. He started to wear it down from 8 seconds to 7 to 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 seconds.
I think the commentators were saying that he was gaining 0.4 or 0.8 seconds,
something like that.
Hundredth
he was like putting in work
every lap. he was gaining a lot, but then he had 2 or 3 little slip-ups in all of in that time. I think of across about 6 laps, and it was like a lock-up, there was like a turn that went wide,
oversteer,
and like something else.
or other.
Oh, he got stuck behind Isaac as well. He couldn't get close enough for blue flags for Isaac, so he got dirty air. So yeah, I think that was just a bit unfortunate timing for Lando, but he did drive those 6 laps brilliantly on dead tires.
Yeah.
With all of those little slip-ups considered, he was still putting in the work, and he was determined to gain as much as he could.
Well, and it was so interesting because I know we talk about this a lot, but Will Joseph came on the radio after Lando had one of those, maybe a little bit of oversteer, maybe a little lockup. I think it was after one of the lockups that cost him like maybe a second, like a whole second and a half or something. It was like a bad lockup. And he came on the radio basically like giving him words of affirmation, telling him to like focus on XYZ, and like we don't see a lot of those radios, which I would like to understand means we don't, like, those types of radios don't really mean, which we can talk about Charles's radio after. And maybe as a juxtaposition point to this of like needing a little bit of a word of affirmation, a little bit of like a reassurance, a little bit of coaching, and a little bit of refocusing. Because like totally we were just talking about it. You and I would be in the same position, if not worse, of like, you know what, let's just call it. I'll just bring it back. We're done. But so we have almost the opposite situation where instead of being more fireworks. For anybody watching this, I'm really sorry. For anybody watching the video, I'm sorry.
I tried to do effects before, and it said I didn't have them turned on.
I love doing the little hearts, but we have kind of the opposite too. So instead of it being Lando's engineer coming onto him when he's chasing, it is Charles and Brian while he's being chased. So while he's not the one chasing. So it's dead silent, I'm assuming. Yeah, Max Verstappen. You've got a Red Bull in your rearview mirrors, and Charles has kind of a lockup that lets Max catch up and gets really close. The closest he gets to being in DRS, which would have meant that Charles was toast, like the whole battle that they had, which was basically the whole race. And Brian comes on the radio and he goes, Verstappen 1.2 behind. And Charles, and he said this with like the very bottom piece of his like heart and soul. Leave me alone, please. Like he said it with like his whole body. And I was like, let that man drive.
But then it was like disconnect. Like it was the broadcast showed it together, but I'm sure there was like some seconds in between because maybe he got out of the corners that he was. And then because he says, leave me alone, please. And then he comes back on and he's like, you know, I do not need you to tell me that, like, you know, this blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he came on and he said like a lot more and pretty much expanding on like why he wanted to be left alone. But
I saved it. Yeah, he says, I can have no information. Then when he's getting close, I have too much information. Keep it constant and don't worry.
Yeah.
Of like, I think, and I totally understand that. Of like, you're either getting nothing or you're getting way too much. And it's both times are when you are like the opposite of what you need or want. Of like, when nothing's going on, I have the mental capacity to hear you more. When I'm trying to fight for my life because Max Verstappen is literally about to bite my head off, I don't need you telling me what's going on.
I don't need you on the radio.
Yeah. So I completely understand where he's coming from. You know me, I love Charles radios. Love them.
Yeah, they are the best. But yeah, so the podium was Oscar, Lando, and then Charles. So incredible, incredible podium. That's probably my second favorite podium. My favorite podium is Oscar, Max, and Charles, like in any order.
Yes, I agree.
And then Lando, Oscar, Charles is probably close to second or third favorite podium.
But the rest of the race didn't have too much notable. Like the cool down room was kind of, I wrote down that they had a lot of grandpa behavior of like, they're all sitting, they're all clearing their throats. No one's talking.
Yes. No. And then all three of them made the same sounds. They were all like, oh.
Yes. Oh. Something happened. They go, oh.
That was
cute.
so funny.
Loved it.
It was so
Yeah,
funny.
and then the only other thing is Oscar did dedicate the win to his grandfather. Yes, you need to come to races more often, which very much feels like an Oscar Piastri thing to say, but very cute, very fun.
Very cute. The hat, kind of boring. Black Pirelli hat. I understand they couldn't do too much, but it was a little bit
a special one.
boring. I know that the Belgian flag is black, white, and red. So actually, all of the colors on the Pirelli hat made the Belgian flag. I get that, but I don't know. It was just a little bit boring. But what else could you do, really?
Yeah,
there weren't really any other. I guess.
But yeah, I mean that about does it. We have a bunch of 20-year-olds acting like grandfathers, and Oscar built on his lead.
Yeah.
Not a bad weekend.
I'm very glad about. But yeah, so tune in next week for
Hungary. The Hungaroring. Let's go.
Why have I just gotten Budapest? I was thinking Belfast, and I was like, that's not where they are.
No!
And I was like, that's why I was having a Carlos Sainz moment. Just blankly staring.
Carlos Sainz eyes.
They are in Budapest at the Hungaroring. Hell yeah. Not a sprint weekend.
Let's do it.
This weekend, by the way. So yeah, tune in next week. Let us know your thoughts, and let us know what you think of our rebrand as well. If you've noticed, let us know what you think. All right.
We will catch you next time. Bye.